It is August 9th, 2024, and it is 5:20 a.m. I believe it is a Friday, and I just got back to my car, and I'm upset, but I'm exhausted. I'm more so exhausted. So I'm going to walk you guys through what happened. I just got into a short dispute, conflict, or whatever with one of the conductors on the train. He was extremely rude to me. I had my hood on. And when I took my hood off, all of a sudden he saw who I was. And then he tried to, he was just like really snappy and rude. And then he tried to like speed walk off. And I was like, nah, we ain't doing that, because I don't even like the way you just got at me. That wasn't even cool. He wouldn't even let me speak. But let's get into this real quick, right? Let's get to why I'm so exhausted, right? So I got up around this time yesterday with a really good idea on my mind. For some odd reason, I was just passionately moved to use my last $100 to incorporate my business. So I said, well, once I checked the pricing and everything, I was like, well, you can afford to do an LLC, and then later on you can always incorporate, but let's just get started, right? So I said, okay, I made my plans, not formal plans. I just want to check the scheduling and all that the night before. And I saw that I could actually catch a train at like 8:30 in the morning. And I said, well, I'm always getting up early. I'll just get up early tomorrow, and I'll catch the train down there, and then make sure that I hop get myself a ticket and hop on the train, right? So, head out there, and I already said that I wanted to register my business in person this time, because I always do it online. I've never gone down to wherever I need to go, and I've never done it in person. So I was like, this time I want to do it in person. So let's do that. And then I'm going to try my best to document it without telling too much on my videos and things like that, because I have a lot of eyes and ears on me and my process, right? So, so much so that people kind of, there's a lot of hatred towards me too. In fact, because of where I am and stuff like that, like there are a lot of people who just do not want me here. And to be honest, I've said this 1,000,001 times. I don't want to be out here either. It's just that my car is stuck here, and I can't leave my car. I can't afford to leave my car. If I leave my car and they impound it, I am the registered owner, so therefore I'm still responsible for all of the charges and fees that go along with the car. And then if I leave it, I won't have anything to keep me out of the elements either. I've already made arrangements for my children. Everybody's cool except for me. And so it's been a journey. It's been a journey, especially over the last year. This is a new set of, record keeping. So I'm not going to get into it, but I have more than enough records that back up how I've been feeling and what I've been going through for the past 4 years. So anyway, back to what the journey was, right? So mainly, I found that uh, I was honestly on like this natural high this morning. Like I got up, I did go and get some coffee, but it was only just so I had it for the train, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to fall asleep on the train. I'm not sure, but I was just really excited to get things done. And I knew I didn't have much money left, so I was just like, you know what, you got just enough to get there, get yourself a round trip ticket, and you can, pay for your registration and get everything certified, and you'll be good. So let's just one step at a time. Let's get there first, right? So I went, got up, got some coffee, got myself together first and everything, whatever. I had no makeup on. I looked a mess. Okay, walking up out of here. But I've been fighting acne anyway, and I was wearing my acne medicine, so that's something. But I just didn't have any makeup on. So anyway, got my coffee, headed to the train station. Got on the train. Train came right on time. I got off at that end of the road train station. The last stop is where the train that goes to the location that I was going to in order to complete the business registration. That was the whole thing. So basically, easy transition, no issues. I did notice when I got there that the lobby of the train station where you would buy your tickets was shut down. And I was just like, and they were doing like all this construction or whatever in there. And it looked like they had just filled the place with, stuff that looked like they were doing construction, but I didn't see like anything actually being worked on in there. It looked like they had turned the lobby or the waiting area for the train station into like some type of a storage or something for all of this construction material. So that's pretty much what it looked like to me. So I said, oh, okay, so I can't buy a ticket inside. I said, well, you can always buy a ticket on the train. It's not an issue. Don't worry, just buy a ticket on the train. So I said, all right, well, it's probably going to be a little bit more. The tickets online, when I looked everything up online, it said that the ticket was $18 to get from where I was to where I was going. And so I spoke with I call them the attendants because the conductor is the person who actually drives the train, but they call them conductors. Like formally, that's their position, I believe. So I said, okay, fair enough. So I spoke with the conductor before I got on the train, and I said, what is the price for the last minute tickets when you can't buy a ticket inside? And she says, oh, it's going to be $40. I said, oh my goodness, you got to be kidding me, right? And she was like, yes, I know. And I was like, damn, I thought it was going to be a little bit lower than that. So I went on ahead and I paid in cash. I was just like, I'm going to just pay in cash or whatever. I really wasn't prepared to do that because I hadn't even went to the ATM. And I was like, damn, I'm not sure if I can do this, but I'm going to go ahead and do this because I need to get to where I'm going, right? At the very least, I'll be able to pay for at least to get the process started. I'll be able to pay for that regardless of what's going on. But I knew I was down to my last and I was like, no, I'm not running out of money without first incorporating my business because that's on my to-do list. And I've gotten a lot of things that were on my to-do list done. And I'm like, now we're at this point and I'm not backing down just because I ain't got it. You feel me? It's like, it'll come back. Most High will bring it back somehow. I'm not sure, but we're going to get this business. You feel what I'm saying? We're going to make sure that this thing is legit. And so I go ahead, long story short, I pull a $20 bill out of my pocket. I have I had a $10 bill, a $5 bill, and some random ones. So I had just enough, right? So I go ahead, I get on the train. And as I'm finding a seat, I go to sit down and I start counting the money out so that, because I know she's coming around so she can collect the money and issue tickets and things. I look down, I'm counting the money out. I'm not sure if I'm the only person who does this, but when I count money, all the faces have to be facing the same way. The money has to be neat. I fold it if I need to. Like I'm one of those people. I'm not sure if that's a thing or not, but that's how I am whenever I'm giving like money to someone, like actual money. I just don't believe in anyway, moving forward. So I'm very neat with money, basically. So, so she comes around and I'm like, what the hell? I'm missing $20. I'm missing $20. So the $20 bill that I had, it's missing now. I'm like, what in the hell is going on? It's like, first you got this situation that's going on. The damn station is shut down. and you can't buy a damn ticket. So I'm forced to buy it on board, which it's going to be more on board in general. And then the amount that she told me it was is like more than double what I've actually, looked up. So I was like, all right, it's all good. Don't trip. Obviously, we know what type of time it is right now. We know what's going on. The enemy's trying to discourage you. And trying to make you feel like you shouldn't be doing what you're trying to do, And so I said, okay. So when that happens, usually it's a really good idea to slow down and, just kind of count your breaths and get your ducks in a row, get your wits about you, pull yourself together, breathe, and make sure that you are paying attention to what you can do in that moment, not what's restricting you. And I find that helps me a lot more than anything else. It's just focusing on what can be done as opposed to, what's being hindered, what I can't do, or whatever the case, right? All right, moving forward. So I get so mad. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to pay for this ticket? I'm already on the train. The train is moving. What? Like, I don't have my debit card. What am I going to do? I was like, Father God. So I say, you know what? I don't know what you sitting up here embarrassed about. You still got laundry money in your pocket. Yes, I did. So I start pulling out all of my quarters. I literally have it had to be like maybe $20 or $30 worth of quarters in my pocket because I just came from doing laundry the day before yesterday. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I carry a windbreaker around my waist. I tie it around my waist for the pockets. I like the pockets that's in it. So I wear it as if it's just like a part of my outfit, but it really is. I'm wearing it like that because I love the pockets. They're like the perfect size for me. I could fit my camera in one. I could fit quarters and my wallet in the other one. It just works for me. And plus, I'm not trying to impress anybody, so I don't mind having it wrapped around my waist often. So anyway, honey, I start counting out my laundry quarters. And I have it's like a little black pouch that I put my laundry quarters in. I said, no, we are going to get there. We're going to get there regardless. And so I counted out exactly $40. Exactly to the T. And I was like, all right, here we go. So I got myself settled in. I went to plug my phone up. And you guessed it, the outlet doesn't work. Probably the only outlet on the train that doesn't work because they're really good about making sure that their outlets work because they specialize in long train rides. So it's like they know that people are going to have their laptops. They know that people are going to have their electronic devices and there's going to be a need to recharge their devices. So they're really good with that. And I know because I grew up catching these trains, up and down the California coast. So I know. So I'm like, okay, here we go with this, So I'm saying, all right, baby, don't worry. Keep going. Literally, that's what I'm telling myself. Just keep going. Don't leave me trip. You're going to have to go through a few challenges, so don't worry. So I said, all right, it's cool. I have my portable phone charger, which it just so happened to have been fully charged. I said, okay, cool. We in there. Let's get it. So I put my, it's like for every single issue that was, coming up against me, I had a solution and it was just like, okay, cool. We're prepared for that. Good. Let's move forward. So plug my phone up, put that to the side, finish counting out my quarters to put with my little dollars, honey, so I could pay for that ticket. Because remember, I really just need to get to an ATM, right? I wasn't able to get to an ATM. The ATM is inside where they locked the station. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy, right? So moving on. Let's continue, right? Honey, so she comes around and I say, I'm sorry in advance, but I had the money in my hand. I promise you. I promise you. But I dropped $20 of the money on my way up here, and I'm sure it's gone by now. So I had to count out $20 in quarters for you. And she looked at me and she kind of laughed a little bit and she says, you came up that way, huh? And she pointed in the direction that I came up. And I said, yes. And she says, I found it. She said, girl, that money went right in my pocket. I said, oh my goodness. And she says, I'm going to give it back to you. I said, you don't have to because you found it. And I already counted out this money. You know what I mean? Like, take it as a tip. Don't trip. And she says, no, I'm not going to do that to you. So let me go and get you the receipt and, we'll get you settled in. And I just thought that was so beautiful of her. I was so thankful that she did that because, I really couldn't afford it. But I was like, I lost it. Somebody found it. Um, you know, I got to let it be. And I'm not going to tussle with today. Whatever happens today, I'm not going to tussle with it, right? I'm just going to let it be. And that was my agenda today, or well, technically yesterday. And so I'm like, all right, mind you, we started our day around 5 or 6. All right. So we're still early in the day. So she gets me my receipt. She's very pleasant. I'm very happy to have met her. I told her it was a pleasure to have met her and thank you for doing such a nice thing because everybody wouldn't have done this. It's other people who would not have done that. They would have kept that money and kept it moving. Okay. Like, oh, well, you need to be holding on to your money, that type of thing. Right. So, but she was very nice nonetheless. And I was so appreciative of that because the energy that I held today, I was really kind of like, I was excited. I was just really overall positive, you know what I mean? And I'm usually that way, but I was really like that yesterday morning because I was just like, I'm ready to go and get this thing taken care of. And on top of that, with it being my last little bit of money, it was important that I celebrated those moments because I knew that after I finished it, I was going to be like on a super, super shoestring budget, So, and I'm not working and I don't have any income coming in outside of, the little income that I'm basically trying to stretch and make happen with whatever I can make happen with, right? So long story shorter, we get to the city where I'm going, right? I'm familiar with this city and especially being a Californian, I'm familiar with this city. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm walking around. I already know where I'm going. I'm looking at all the differences and everything. I'm looking at all the, pretty much simulated hints and all that stuff that's going on. I'm just looking at everything and enjoying some of it though, because some of it was like a well-needed upgrade for, the area or whatever. But it was just really nice to, kind of be there for a moment. It was a little hot, which I had already expected. The weather was nice. It was just time to get down to business. So the first thing I did, I took some pictures of some little landmarks that I thought were really cute on my way to where I was going. Found the place where I was going and went inside and I ran into this guard who was he was very nice to me, but he was like overly aggressive with this lady who came in behind me while I was looking for my ID to check in. But he was protective and he was doing his job and I appreciated his energy, to be honest. I really did. So I went upstairs after I got checked in and I confirmed with the representatives there what all I would need. I gathered my forms. Remind you, I've never, ever filled these forms out in person, ever. And so I'm like, oh my God, I'm nervous because I'm used to doing this stuff online. But today has to be in person. I want my handwriting on the documentation. I want my information on there. Like, I don't want to, I will turn it in. No third parties, thank you. I want to see it being processed. Okay. And so, honey, I gathered the documents. They tell me how much it's going to be. On my way over there, I was looking for an ATM and did not find one, which was very odd because I'm like, damn, in all of downtown, not one ATM? This is crazy, right? But I didn't trip. I was like, just stay on course, stay on your journey. If you don't have it right now, at least go pick up your documents and ask the questions that you need to ask so that when you leave, you go get your money out of the ATM, and then you come back. All your all your questions are answered. Your documents are finished. They're ready to just stamp it and process. You pay for it. You get your receipts. You get whatever copies you need, and then you move forward. So I was like, either way it goes, it's gonna be okay, But I would have rather walked in there with what it is that I needed monetarily because I could have just sat there with a clipboard and filled everything out. But the fact that I needed to get to that ATM, that was what really prolonged the process today. Whereas I could have been in and out. Like I got there like what? Man, it was like right before 12, right? So that goes to show you how long I was on the train too. So like right before 12 I got there. And I was like, damn. And I didn't get it. I didn't get everything processed until I want to say maybe 3 o'clock or something like that. Because I had to go find a damn ATM. It was crazy. And then they had an ATM in the 7-Eleven. I went into the 7-Eleven and then the ATM didn't read my card. Ain't that about a bitch? I said, okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So so I found another ATM at a bank, a nearby bank, which was like the only one downtown. And I was like, this is crazy that there's only one of these. So anyway, get that done. Have no issues. Go back to the place. Paid for my documentation, filled out the documentation, paid for the processing, made sure everything was certified, took a picture of the receipt. Happy. I'm finally starting the process of getting the ball rolling with my business, right? Or at least my entity. We'll say that, right? Because it's not a business yet, And so I said, all right, thank goodness we are exactly where we need to be. We have gotten exactly what we need to get done, accomplished today. So now I don't know what I'm going to do. What do I want to do? I said, well, you can go get some lunch and then you can go and check and see when your train is returning. Because literally, like I said, I was not supposed to be out there for no days. I did, however, bring a change of clothes and I brought my makeup kit and I brought some, washcloths and, perfumes and some lotions and, all the feminine necessities, right? So I have that in my backpack so I don't have to carry it on my shoulder because my bag is super heavy already, all by its damn self, So I brought my roller backpack with me. I wasn't trying to go anywhere. I just wanted to make sure I had my things with me just in case some shit happened. You know what I mean? I was like, just you make sure you got a change of clothes. Make sure you have things, that you can freshen up with. Make sure you have, this and this and this. You need this important document, that important document, just in case they ask for it. Just making sure I have everything, but not wearing it on my shoulder. Just taking a more convenient route by utilizing this roller backpack that I have. So anyway, honey, I get to the place where I decide I want to have some lunch. And they don't have lunch. Like they have it, but they don't have what I want. And I was like, because I had seen this man on my way out of the train station. He had some fries and I think he had a burger or something. And it looked really good. Like a specialty burger, and the fries were like thick cut. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And so I was like, okay. I said, sir, where did you get your food? I'm looking for a place to go and get some lunch. And he told me where to go. When I got there, the restaurant said, oh no, we don't make burgers and fries. And I said, well, why would he point me in that? I said, you know what? Don't even ask why, child. Just go on about your business. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it, okay? So I talked to the young lady. I asked her if there was any other place around there that I could go to because I really did have a taste for something specific, and what they had on the menu wasn't necessarily what I wanted, right? So she told me one place, and then I was like, oh man, I don't know, And so I ended up going I crossed over into a small town that they have there, that's not too far from where I was, to see if maybe I can kind of like find one of the saloons or something like that that makes sandwiches, or just something, because I did not eat that morning. I just had the coffee and I've been running ever since, right? So, child, it took me about an hour to find food. Okay. It was not, I need y'all to understand, the motherfucking journey was real today, okay? Or technically yesterday. That journey was real. Hello. And so I find food, but I find it at the local mall. So I had to walk so far to get some food. But I was like, if you don't eat, you're going to pass out. You need to eat something, because I was running on pretty much caffeine, I was like, girl, you better get it together. You cannot have that. You can't do that. You have to eat. All right. So I said, all right, got the food, and got some sparkling water, and I felt so rejuvenated. And then I headed back over to the train station. So now all of a sudden I see that my train is there. I'm like, okay, cool. Or a train that can get me where I'm going, at least partly. So they were taking me to a location that was still extremely far from where I was going, but I knew the transportation system in that area so well that I knew how to get back to where I was going, just getting off at that point and then, moving forward. Plus, I was already convinced that because it wasn't the entire way, that my ticket would be lower. So I was already cool. I didn't feel no type of way about it. I was like, okay, it's going to work out. I'm not worried about it, right? So then, long story shorter, I get onto the train and I notice that there's this guy that's really, like, he's extremely odd, and he's like watching me. And I was like, well, he could find you attractive. You got your makeup on today. You know what I'm saying? He might be looking at you. I was like, that could be it. I'm not sure, but just in case, let me just kind of keep an eye on him, just to make sure he's not trying to, he ain't trying no crazy stuff, right? And so give me a second. I'm trying to minimize the legs on this on this tripod. Okay. So anyway, I'm trying to get this together, you guys, so I can lay down. I literally just got in at 5:20 and I'm exhausted. I'm not going to lie to you. So anyway, moving forward. So I get food. I deal with the heckles and all that stuff, or whatever. I ain't really tripping. I'm like, whatever. People don't know me. I ain't worried about all that. So I head back over to the train station, and I get onto the train. I find that there's someone that may possibly be watching me, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Because everybody's watching, but it's different. It was a different type of watching. You know what I'm talking about. It feels like stalking. It feels like it's not safe. You feel what I'm saying? That's what it be feeling like. So I was like, all right, well, let me hop off the train and think about if I want to take this train, because number one, like I said, it wasn't going where I was going anyway. It was just taking me halfway. And the one that was taking me all the way, the whole distance. That one was coming, but it was coming within an hour and something. Like it was a little bit over an hour. And I was like, I don't know. But see, it take about an hour or so on the transportation system. So I wasn't really tripping either way. I knew I was going to be getting back around the same time. So I get off the train and I get this weird feeling and I'm like, no, I think I'm going to let this train pass me by. And so I was able to capture some really beautiful images while I was waiting for the next train, and decided that I wanted to walk around a bit. Ended up missing the train walking around a bit. I did get something to eat though. That was good. And I went and I visited a cute little Black-owned shop that was in the smaller parts of that town, which I hadn't visited in I don't know how long. So it felt good. Basically, it felt good, and I felt like I had gotten something done for sure, and I was really happy about it. So I said, okay, cool. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go ahead and head on over here. So I headed back over to the train station to get, because what ended up happening, let me tell you about this. Here's another challenge, right? So we get onto the train. This is what also prompted me, because I was like, that's kind of weird. The train that I was already on originally, something was wrong with it. And they were like, everyone, please get off the train. Please evacuate the train. And I was like, what the hell is going on with the train? And they wouldn't say anything, but they called in some people to take a look at it. In the meantime, they asked or they requested for another train to come. So then the other train came, and that was the train that we got onto. But before we got onto it, they were a little paranoid, but I think they were just, taking precautions to make sure that maybe there wasn't, something on the train or something like that, that could harm people. And so, honey, when I tell I'm telling you guys this story and my eyes are getting so heavy. I was sleepy. But I gotta tell it the way it is while it's fresh in my head, so I don't miss any details because it might be important. I don't know shit. So anyway, as I'm watching the sunrise the following day, just now getting in, interesting, child, something else. Anyway, so they have us get off that train. We get on to the next train, and then that's when I saw the guy that just seemed like he just didn't seem very. I don't know. He seemed a little creepy. And I was like, so I thought to change my seat. And then I realized, I was like, you know what? Why don't you just catch the train that's going your way? You don't have to be on no busybody shit. You can literally just, And I was like, yeah, I guess so. So that's how I literally got kind of stuck there, because I was waiting for the right train to pull up, So anyway, and it wasn't like it was a bad situation. It was a good situation. Even with me waiting for the train, I didn't really have anything to do, but I bet you this motherfucking much, I came back with a full set of new nails. I guarantee you that. Okay, full set of new nails. I had already did outreach with the youth. I had talked to some youth, some teenage boys, making sure that they understood the value of education, and making sure that they understood that, if it's about money and you out here doing what you're doing for money, you can get some money going to school. You can literally get paid for going to school. And they didn't know that. They didn't know anything about financial aid. They didn't know anything about any of that. Student loans, none of that. And I'm like, I want you to open yourself up to that world because you're young. You're 22 years old, and, you seem to be very bright. And I want you guys to get in there and push, and it's not easy to do that. But I'm asking that you do that because you need to do that for your family. And we went into it, like we got really deep into that conversation. And I was so happy to have made his acquaintance because I learned from him just as he was learning from me, So, and I thought that was cool. And also, it felt good to finally talk to somebody who understands what the fuck I mean when I say I'm from the San Francisco East Bay. You know what I mean? Like, it felt so good not to have to break that down to people because I was already there. Like, and people were like, oh, okay. You know, like, it was just, it's normal for us because when you from the Bay, it's like you literally, if you have lived in as many places as I've lived, I'm not going to break down how many places I've lived and where I'm from and all the places I went to school. My mother moved around a lot with me, so for me, it makes more sense just for me to say, yes, I am from the San Francisco East Bay. I don't claim any particular city in the Bay Area, but I am a Bay baby. Trust and believe that. Born and raised, okay? I'm not trying to be nobody. I'm not pretending to be anybody. I'm not stretching the truth. I'm a Bay baby. Born, bred, and raised out here. Okay, so that's just what it is. Okay, and I'm talking about the old Bay Area. I'm not talking about what we going through right now. Okay, I'm talking about the old Bay Area that used to be super fun and filled with culture and all that good stuff before we had this pandemic of fentanyl and all this invasion of. Don't get me started. Let me move forward. Anyway, let's move forward. Let's move forward. Let's move forward. All right. So there was confusion with the trains. I got off the trains thinking that maybe it was a safety issue. Got on the second train and realized that it may not be a good idea to spend the next 3 hours with someone watching me like the way that man was watching me. And so I got off and I got on to the next train, which was due a couple hours after that. All right, so that is part one, you guys. Ain't that some shit? Damn near over half an hour. That's part one. Let me get you into part two.